You got to get the senior managers to understand how radically different the marketplace is and the world is today. It's going to change, it's already changed, and if you don't change, you're going to get buried in the landslide. Most professors talk about the past. They talk about what happened yesterday, the day before, or something like that. I'm much more into forecasting than I am in ROI. I think what we really are looking at is whether or not Western managers and Western management systems can change fast enough to keep up with the foreign competition. Now, if you think about most selling organizations, and certainly most B2B organizations, we love control. We love to control the system. We love to control the whole process. So we want to control it. The customer doesn't pay any attention to us because they don't need to anymore. They don't need to come to us for information. They can go anywhere and get information, and that's what's really destroying most of the models that we have in B2B. The competitors that we have today are agile, they're flexible, they have none of the embedded systems. Our models, our systems are just too slow to keep up with the changes in the marketplace. We've got to reinvent the model. We've got to flip the model around from being a supply chain to a demand chain. And we don't have ways of thinking about in B2B the demand chains. We don't understand what customers are doing, even though we have lots of data and lots of information about it, because we simply haven't put it together. One of the big issues is the changing role of marketing and sales in B2B organizations, because the sales guy has always been the king. He's always been the one that said, here's what I need to support my efforts. And I think what we're looking at now is this: if the marketing people do what they're supposed to do, they ought to be able to give the sales force, here's what you need to be talking about, here's what you need to be selling, here's what you need to be saying to these people. And that puts them in the lead role as opposed to support role. The senior management in most cases came out of the sales group, and they don't want to see that happen. They do not want to see the sales force diminished. They do not want to accept the fact that the world has changed, and that's what makes it difficult for them. That's why I say you really need to retrain the senior managers. You don't need to retrain the middle people. And the issue is not watching people around you. You need to be watching globally, because my premise is that most of the changes that are going to occur in sales, marketing, advertising, selling, whatever it happens to be, are not going to occur in the US. We're too staid, we're too resistant to change. You have to look at India, you have to look at China, you have to look at Indonesia, you have to look at Turkey, you have to look at all the places where they have simply leapt over the traditional way of doing things and are out there in the digital area where we are really struggling.